Hare Krishna.
And pranams, Marianne.
Nice to see you, Lilamoy Das. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you.
Thank you.
Really happy to be here again.
Me too.
Morning obeisances. Danda, pranams, Gurudev.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Are you our host today, Lilamoy Prabhu?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I expect I have a mystery message
Probably.
from Praneshwari somewhere amongst the messages. I do have messages, unfortunately. Unfortunately, not all seen. We've been with devotees here. Okay, dear devotees, with Lilamoy Prabhu as the host, and are we on Facebook today?
Yes, we are live.
We are. Okay, then I'll turn on my Facebook because I can, I think, and then we shall continue. And Facebook says that we have received 200 reactions to our post this month. Okay, well, thank you very much for all the reactionary good souls. We appreciate it. All right. Anyway, our first reaction today is we've come to the devotees, so let us offer our obeisances and let us begin with our mini vandana. But first we'll offer obeisances to each other because that's what we do when we come together. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuvya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitams Cha Om Jnana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvijay Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So welcome to one and all, and wherever you are, it's a festival day. Because where you are yesterday, where it's yesterday, it's Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur's appearance day, and where you are on an early morning today, we're always thinking where we are is the center of the world, isn't it? Then it is Srila Haridās Thakur's disappearance day. So wherever you are, it is a festival. And they're very closely related festivals because two super personalities who've come to give us our Krishna consciousness from the time of Mahaprabhu through to the present day, means the tsunami, as I believe Krishna Kanta said yesterday, the tsunami of Krishna consciousness had flooded the whole world. This has come from both Srila Haridās Thakur as the Nama Acharya, means Mahaprabhu gave him credit, full credit, praised him so much that he behaved perfectly and he chanted perfectly. He preached perfectly the holy name, and this way Acharya means one who preaches by example, shows the example of what he's representing. And Haridās Ṭhākur, he got that title Nama Acharya, because indeed he was showing that to chant a fixed number of rounds every day, to chant in congregation, and to tell others the glories of the holy name of the Lord. So it's inconceivable for us to understand how he could chant 300,000 names of the Lord every day, which comes to approximately, and I haven't calculated it today, but I remember it's a little under, as far as I remember, 64 rounds of japa times 3. Now, if any of you have chanted 64 rounds of japa ever, or 64 rounds of japa times 2, you'll understand that for us mere mortals, it's a very major task to do it for one day, what to speak of do it every day. But what is even more inconceivable, that is that how he was able to chant so much japa, and to chant and dance, for instance, in the kirtan, that the Sankirtan, which accompanied the Jagannath Rath Yatra festival, and how he was able to have sadhu sangha, means discuss all these topics about Krishna Nam, to be with Mahaprabhu every day, practically every day. When Mahaprabhu, when he went to the temple, then he would meet with Haridās Ṭhākur. And this way Mahaprabhu went to the devotee. When the devotees cannot come to the temple, like Haridās Ṭhākur was considered to be untouchable in the society of those days because of his association with the meat eaters. And they say that he was brought up by the meat eaters, but that he was born in a meat-eating family. But they also, Guru Maharaj said, but some say that he was born in a Brahmana family and that he was brought up by the meat eaters. But either way, because of that association and the strict kind of society consciousness at that time, then he honored the traditional guidelines of the Jagannath temple, that only the Hindus of a certain class will be able to go into the temple. And so he honored that, and he didn't go into the Jagannath temple, but still the Lord, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, came to see him on practically a daily basis. And that's a similar situation as when Sanatana Goswami would come to Puri, then he would stay with Haridās Ṭhākur. When Rupa Goswami would come to Puri, he would stay with Haridās Ṭhākur. And none of them went into the temple or made any objection that they cannot go in. But they were graced by Mahaprabhu's own darshan each day. So anyhow, how Haridās Ṭhākur was able to chant basically 64 rounds times 3 every day, plus have so much Harikatha, Sadhu Sangha, and do the congregational chanting of the holy name. Plus, I do believe he also ate and slept and other things that we have to do with our life. So these things are all inconceivable. But Srila Guru Maharaj, he did say in relation to Raghunath Das Goswami, who has some, quite similar life. Well, similar life means 24 hours a day engagement in service. And with Raghunath Das, it's told that he would rest and look after his bodily duties for 1.5 hours each day, and would be engaged in service for 22.5 hours. And as one of our sweet senior devotees did point out, he said that just the opposite of many devotees who do 1.5 hours of service every day, and for 22.5 hours, then they're looking after their bodily needs in one way or another. All right, so that's Haridās Ṭhākur. I mean, in super brief about his disappearance day today. Oh, but his disappearance was very wonderful and an example and used by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to show that when the devotees pass away, that their bodies are not like untouchable, etc. Rather, everything to do with the devotee is very, very pure and wholesome and everything. And so in brief, Mahaprabhu himself, he managed and did the bathing of Haridās Thakur's body. That means where he passed away was in Puri, Jagannath Puri, and he bathed his body in the sea. He began the digging of the samadhi for his body. He began the filling in of the samadhi pit after the body is there, it's a burial place. And he himself went begging for the boga, the foodstuffs for making the festival for his disappearance on that very same day after he disappeared. So many, in so many ways, Mahaprabhu, he danced and chanted with the body of Haridās Thakur after his disappearance. And he showed it's actually joyful that the devotees, they're leaving their body. And where are they going? They're going somewhere very special. Mahaprabhu knows where. But the disappearance of a devotee compared with the disappearance of a regular person whose destination is very much unknown or quite often very much known, then the disappearance is considered quite differently. So that's Haridās Thakur and Srila Bhakti, in super brief, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur, then his appearance day, when we hear Gurudev, when we hear Guru Maharaj chanting the glories of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, then we understand that absolutely the pivotal point in our parampara, in the spreading of the Krishna consciousness, the pivotal point from where the Sampradaya was being maintained and, yes, shared within a certain section after Mahaprabhu's disappearance, the Sampradaya maintained, but in the broad sense, the Sampradaya, the teachings became polluted, diluted, and somewhat hidden or within just a narrow band after the disappearance of Mahaprabhu, generation by generation. Then it quickly happened that the general public then had some disdain for Mahaprabhu's teachings because people were begging and putting on tilak and the cloth, but behaving in any way that they liked and bringing into disrepute the purest of the pure teachings of Mahaprabhu. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he was very pivotal in changing this around, to bringing back the dignity, showing the dignity of Mahaprabhu's line and showing the nonsense of those who were a nonsense and disrespecting the teachings of Mahaprabhu. It's an excuse to beg and to do so many things in the name of Ragamag, which means in the name of not following clearly the rules and regulations. And so we have to be very careful about all these things, that this doesn't creep back into the Sampradaya. And we, in the Western world, like the idea of Ragamag, oh, we don't have to be so strict about following regulations, but we must be very strict to follow the purity of what Mahaprabhu gave, what Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave, what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave, and what our direct masters of Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, and Srila Prabhupada gave. Because they gave everything to show what is the pure line, and to ignore that and to try to find excuses for bad behavior is very, you can even say criminal, that we are trying to find excuses within the purest of the pure teachings, when they themselves have shown how the behavior of the devotees should be exemplary. Haridās Thakur Nama Acharya, the perfect example of the name, then behaving perfectly and preaching perfectly. And Mahaprabhu is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He said, so many, they preach very well, but they're not so well behaved. And some are very well behaved, but they're not inclined to preach so well. They're relishing the holy name, etc. Well behaved, but not broadly preaching. But Haridās Ṭhākur, very perfectly behaved and perfectly presenting the holy names, teaching, preaching, like this. So Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākur, that kind of a nature, is the gentleman Vaishnava, very much respected within society, very perfectly behaved, and a householder, responsible person in society. And he had a total of 12 children, 8 boys, 4 girls. And when we hear Guru Maharaj talking, Guru Maharaj, he knows the names of all of them. It's just like he's also one of the children. It feels like that he knows each of the brothers and the order in which they were born and their life like this. But one of those sons was Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Ṭhākur, who Srila Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākur prayed to Mahaprabhu, prayed to the Lord, please send one of your men, one of your own persons here, whose society will accept as, a leader. They will have no doubt that he has come to set everything straight. And this was often called the Lion Guru, who became the Lion Guru. And that's first Bimala Prasad was his name as a baby, as a boy, as a youth. And then presently his name became Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Ṭhākur. And of course he's, our generation's grandfather, Guru, and he's the father of the Chaitanya Mat, the whole missionary work of spreading Krishna consciousness. But what was he spreading? He was spreading the teachings, the heart and teachings of Srila Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākur, who fully presenting the mood, purity, and in the applicable way, the practice of Bhakti Yoga, of Krishna consciousness, given by Mahaprabhu, but in a practical way for the modern age. And believe it or not, the 19th century was the modern age, even without internet and without all these other things. They did, after all, set the whole railway network in place in India, and so many things, a modernization. So the modern world, which is different, we have to accept when we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see it is different than the world at the time of Mahaprabhu, even though it was only 500 years ago. At least the world of Mahaprabhu's world, which was that society, the dignified society of India, and their standards of dignity, their standards of conduct, of association, etc., were very high. And what we see in Mahaprabhu's pastimes, much of it, we give honor to it. We cannot live that life, even though it's only 500 years later. We cannot live the kind of life, as we mentioned about Raghunath Das Goswami, his 22.5 hours a day of seva and 1.5 hours to maintain, look after the body. Then Guru Maharaj himself said, no human can do like this. So the cream of the cream of the best of society, the 6 Goswamis, Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, and so many who are not put within 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. It's not that there were only the 6 Goswamis, but we have so many associates of Mahaprabhu. And actually, Mahaprabhu's associates still come to this world, and we see this in the in the pastimes of Srila Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākur, Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Ṭhākur, and our immediate guardians, Srila Gurudev, Srila Guru Maharaj, and Srila Prabhupada. So these are special days and gently sad days, in the sense that in Navadip, this would be coming to the end of the 1 month-long festival of Hari Smaran in Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. So you may have noticed, if you follow the calendar along, that throughout the last month, there have been a lot of festivals. And actually, it almost coincides with the month of September this year. But this isn't like the calendar month of festivals. It's 30 days of lots of festivals that have come into the calendar. And therefore, Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev, they made special recognition, and so they could call this and would send out invitations for this 30 days of Hari Smaran in Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, with extra readings, extra this, extra that. Extra prasad on some days too. Anyway, this is a little introduction from me, and we do have Jivana Devidasi here, and we have actually all good Vaishnavas are here with us. I was looking for Paramananda Prabhu, if he is also available. I know he's been offline recently and traveling, so he'll pop up if he can, no doubt. But that doesn't mean Jivana is second best. I was looking for Paramananda because he is unique and Jivana is unique. So Jivana, we've been living in spiritual luxury here in Vila Govinda Ashram, with having 2 devotees who have received grace and have got wonderful memories and very living sharing of association of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, and Srila Gurudev. As Goswami Maharaj says, the trifactor. So Jivana, we are in also spiritual luxury today. We have you who have led a very special life with the grace of these 3 great souls. So I'm passing the microphone to you and to your little bird, who's not visible just now. But maybe we'll hear your bird. I don't know if it's a him or a her, but he does speak sometimes.
Did you have, was it Sri Lanka that you had there?
Sri Lanka and Anjali, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, well, I just offer my obeisance to this beautiful, illustrious, wonderful association. All of you are very, very merciful, very tolerant, very patient, and somehow tolerating so much, especially if you have to hear from me. But anyway, what can we say? It's Madhusudana Maharaj, so we're always happy to do any little thing that he thinks is necessary. So this week, well, we're still continuing to read The Golden Volcano of Divine Love. And this week, we were reading the last, you know how the book is separated, there's the first part of it, and then the second part is the 8 Shikshastakam prayers. And then Gurudev talks about those, Guru Maharaj talks about those. So we were on the 8th prayer, Ashli Shava Paravatam Panashtumam, that prayer. And the whole chapter was really, I mean, we were just reading it and not commenting, not talking, because it's way high, way over our heads. And I was thinking about that verse in Bhagavad Gita in the 13th chapter, where Krishna says, it's in chapter 13, and the 2 verses, like chapter 25 and 26. And he's talking about, this is the distinction between matter and spirit. But these 2 verses popped up for me one morning when I happened to be listening to the audiobook of Bhagavad Gita, thanks to someone who won't mention it because he will not be very happy if I keep mentioning his name. But anyway, It's verse 25 is, with their pure consciousness, some persons see the supersoul within the heart in their meditation. Others perceive him through enlightenment, and yet others the yoga of selfless action. Then 26 is, further, there are those who, not knowing of these methods, engage in worship by hearing the scriptures. When their faith is deepened by such hearing, they too surpass the mortal plane. I thought that was really super encouraging verses from Krishna himself, that so many things, if you don't feel like I'm getting, pure consciousness or enlightenment, but simply by hearing the scriptures, our faith can become deepened, and eventually we can still surpass the mortal plane. So that was helping us to read that chapter, that last Shikshastakam, Ashleshava, Padaratam, Panashtamam. But also I wanted to read for you on the last page, the last paragraphs, because that also was very hopeful and was making me think of all of you so much. So first of all, it starts off, it's very short. It's just 2 paragraphs. It starts off with, Krishna is not a sweet ball. So we must be prepared for any unfavorable circumstances, but we must not be discouraged. Krishna is most affectionate. His care towards us is most acute and sincere. His affection towards us has no rival. Still, Sriman Mahaprabhu has given us a warning in this verse. You are coming to search after Krishna. Krishna is not a sweet ball from the market that you can purchase and finish so easily. You are trying to attain the highest of the high, so you must be prepared for anything. At the same time, the devotees will come to us saying, have no fear, we are all like you. Let us all walk together in a straight line. Don't be afraid, we are here. We are told that Krishna's devotees are even more sympathetic to us than Krishna himself. The solace of our life and our fortune is his devotees. And Krishna says, Mad Bhaktanam cha ye bhakta. One who is a servant of my servant is my real servant. Sadhu Sangha, the association of saints, is the most important and valuable thing for us. To make our advancement and progress towards the infinite, our association is our guide. It is all important. We must stick to this conclusion. Sadhu Sangha, Sarvasastra Kai, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sarvasiddhi Hoy. The conclusion has been given in the scriptures that all perfection can be attained by the help of the saints. Good association is our greatest wealth in reaching the supreme goal. So we're really thinking of all of you and how fortunate it is that I can have your association every week like this. And that is the most perfection of life. And in this way, we continue on. Sometimes we're just listening to the scriptures because it's like way over our head, like that chapter was. And other times we're getting so much help and relief from the devotees because they're saying, we're all in the same path. Don't worry, you're not alone. We're going together. So that was something beautiful that we were reading this week.
And Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev, in this theme that Krishna is not a sweet ball, etc., they are not expecting that we understand everything. In fact, they're emphasizing to us, we don't understand anything. And so when we really are conscious that we don't understand, actually, we're just waiting for the grace, we're following the process. Then when we actually understand that, then we're more likely to actually come to understand everything. And we see that this knowledge side, that, oh, I know the answer to everything, I know this. The knowledge side, when we're trying to put Krishna into our brain and taste him from our thinking ourselves a subject and Krishna the object, that this is not the path of bhakti, and it is very dangerous for us, because by braininess, we can make our brain, try to analyze everything and see Krishna is like this and learn so many things about. about the Sanskrit words for specific moods or something. But Gurudev appreciated simplicity. And he appreciated the scholarliness of those who presenting and supporting the Bhakti, of course, the Bhakti devotion, of course. But Jivana's expression I'm thinking of here, and Gurudev would be smiling to hear her expression, simple-hearted expression. And she's also given us the good example that the high subject matters, we read them, we hear them, and the high subject matters which do come in Srimad Bhagavatam and in Chaitanya Charitamrita,
Yes, right.
they're not for our analysis and discussion as such. We are hearing them and we're continuing to other parts which we can more readily relate to in a safe way. But yes, the golden volcano of divine love, we can say, I mean, such an important book. And if we know how Srila Guru Maharaj said that if all the books of the world, all the scriptures, the holy books and scriptures of the world somehow will be destroyed, if only Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita remains, then everything remains.
Wow.
And if we think in this way, then that book, the Golden Volcano of Divine Love, how important is that book? In some sense, it is the essence of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita coming to us in a very presentable form, means acceptable form, understandable form, in a way that we can understand, us humans who've taken our birth in Kali Yuga, us. We can understand Guru Maharaj, we can understand Gurudev. We cannot understand Sanskrit, and only very few people who really go through the process of learning properly under proper teachers, going through being in medical terms, you go through the university and then you become intern, is it? Where you work underneath another doctor. As soon as you pass your medical exam, they don't let you just go in the surgery room and start taking out people's organs and replacing them. You've got to go and actually, practice under the guidance of the senior doctors. It takes years to become like a specialist in a certain matter. So to become a specialist within Sanskrit in the clean devotional mood takes years, and few of us have that capacity in this world. But Srila Guru Maharaj in the Golden Volcano of Divine Love has given us the condensed essence of Chaitanya Charitamrita in the way that we can hear it, in the language of at least the Western world that was closely associated with India, which means the English language. Guru Maharaj very sweetly gave what is what. Srila Gurudev gave what is what. And Srila Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākur, he gave English books also. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his life and precepts. That book and the Bhagavat and its philosophy, this book, these are in original English. And Guru Maharaj told about Srila Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākur. We're mentioning this because it is his appearance day, today or yesterday, depending on where you are. And Srila Guru Maharaj said of Srila Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākur that his presentation was very simple and very sweet. And he's so scholarly, but his presentation and the mood, you see the kirtans, the songs that we sing, how beautiful are these kirtans. And Guru Maharaj told that before Srila Saraswati Thakur, the devotees, they do have bhajans, kirtans that they sing, and of different varieties, etc. And he said that, Guru Maharaj said that before Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, then mostly the kirtans that the devotees sang were those of Srila Narottam Das Thakur, his songs. And Guru Maharaj said, but Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's kirtans are similar simplicity and prayer, but with more scriptural substance this way. So that was an interesting thing, because Narottam Das Thakur, we know how great is Narottam Das Thakur, and so great that when he left the world, he walked into the Ganges and dissolved as milk into the Ganges. And of course, that does draw people's attention to some degree. And it definitely drew the attention of those who were envious of him. The Sahajya section, various sections who claim that, only you can be God conscious if you're born in a certain department, etc. But Narottam Das Thakur wasn't like that. He was born in an I don't want to say exactly what family, but it wasn't the top class Brahmana family. And then the Brahmanas, they were criticizing him so much. But then finally, when they saw his disappearance from the world, they all became silenced. Not only silenced, they gave respect to him and prayed for forgiveness to him after he disappeared. But everyone knows the greatness of Narottam Das Thakur. But Guru Maharaj is saying that what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave was that standard of Narottam Das Thakur, but with more spiritual substance, like scriptural substance and siddhanta behind it, and not only the mood, but with the backing. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Guru Maharaj said that he was very simple and straightforward in what he gave. But simplicity doesn't mean lack of substance. It means you're telling clearly what is what, and in a simple way, this is what is devotional life. Please listen. And then that mood is coming through song after song. And we are singing back Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Narottam Das Thakur songs daily, and Lochan Das Thakur and Guru Maharaj's and Gurudev's kirtans, songs. But here we are, we're in the world where, thankfully, a little simplicity is appreciated, and that scholarliness isn't the hallmark of the advancement. Rather, keeping our heart simple, chanting the names of the Lord, affectionately rendering service and wanting to render service, praying to the Lord that we are wanting service connection, praying for service connection. This way, going on. And loving search, sorry, I keep saying loving search for the lost servant. It's a sign, because loving search for the lost servant is actually, in a way, very similar. It's Mahaprabhu. I know everyone is seeing Krishna welcoming back Gopakumar, but the whole of loving search for the lost servant. Who is the Lord? How do we see Krishna when he's searching for his lost servant? He becomes Gauranga. And so the loving search for the lost servant in many ways is very similar to the golden volcano of divine love. But the golden volcano of divine love is something like Chaitanya Charitamrita at the beginning, fully establishing that Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, is God. We're all praying to God, right? We've heard of God, we've heard of God. Those of us here have heard of God. Okay, so God himself, but God, sweet Krishna, the epitome of Godness, the origin of all his forms, beauty, charm, sweetness, all these things. He has come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so the beginning of the golden volcano of divine love, the book, is as the Chaitanya Charitamrita, establishing, showing that Mahaprabhu is the Lord himself, and then coming to give some description of his life, of his methods, and then that second part that Jivana that he's referring to is giving an expansion of the meaning, helping us understand the meaning of the Shikshastakam, the 8 verses, the teachings, the direct teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Charitamrita, such a super valuable book, and the Golden Volcano, super valuable book. So if you haven't read it yet, put it on your bucket list, but preferably that word bucket list, I don't like it actually, because I don't know if you all know where it came from, but it's not very happy. This kind of origin of the, as far as I was told where the word came from, bucket list. So they have an English expression, kick the bucket is when you die. I don't know if they say that in America, but I was told that that's where that name came from. So a list of things you want to do before you kick the bucket, which is not a very nice expression for leaving the body. But we want to do it not just before we leave the body. We want to read these books like now, but don't stop reading whatever book you are reading. Books you are reading. Hopefully you're reading more than one book. But we must add it to that list. Hare Krishna. Does anybody have a contribution? I'm a sannyasi. People say, what's this cloth for? It's a begging cloth. It is. That's what it's meant for. Now, maybe a little symbolic, but I can use it now. I can say, do you have a contribution? But a contribution in terms of towards the theme of today. Any good souls with a contribution? Tungarasa, Suresh Krishna, you're both Tungarasa and Tungarasa Dedi, Suresh Krishna, you're both experienced devotees. Long life of Prema Sindhu, long life of devotional service. Narayani, long life of devotional service. Priyanana, yes, oh, I missed the flower of Priyanana. Priyanana, please, contribution. Then questions after the contribution. Yes, Priyanana. We see your hand, but don't hear your voice.
Yes, Dhanyavad. A short life of non-devotee, but sometimes want to make some contribution.
I have a long life of non-devotee. So short life of non-devotee and a long life of devotee. That's the balance we want.
I just wanted to say that here in Lahta, in St. Petersburg, we know that Srila Govinda Maharaj, he said that after Mahaprabhu bathed the body of Srila Haridās Ṭhākur in the ocean, that all other oceans and seas there interconnected. So all the rivers, oceans, etc., they became holy.
All the salt water, I believe he said.
Okay, thank you. So after the holy body of Haridās Ṭhākur was washed there, and I believe Govinda Maharaj said this in Lahta when he looked at Finnish Gulf. So sometimes when I go to the sea, and it's really like 20 meters from the temple, I remember these words, and I think even in such a way, Haridās Ṭhākur continues to spread his mercy, because like he's Namacharya, and also even by his disappearance, by such remembrance, you can somehow connect with Krishna consciousness, even like looking at the sea, walking by. And of course, another part is when you read about his like mystical disappearance, that he asked to leave this world before Mahaprabhu. And I don't feel like being able to describe, but I also remember, I think that his eyes were like the bumblebees who were flying or like concentrating on the holy face of Sriman Mahaprabhu. And that is also one of the descriptions that like very mystical and charming, and mesmerizing, I would say. So, you know, like Srila Gurudev said that he went to Uchagon once and he didn't want to go there any other time because once he got this impression from Srila Guru Maharaj there, and he didn't want to like spoil or overlay any other time. So once we read Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita about these pastimes, final pastimes of Srila Haridās Ṭhākur, and actually I remember that once I got some impression, sorry for such audacious comparison, but then the other time when this day came again, I remember I was kind of afraid and not quite willing to hear again, because once you got some impression, then you think, oh, that would be the second time hearing about these pastimes. But still, I think each time you hear, there is something new comes, and the humility of Srila Haridās Ṭhākur, how he approached Mahaprabhu, how he explained his like request. I think it's also heart melting and very attractive somehow. Not.
But don't be afraid to hear again and again, because nobody's built anything with concrete and steel on the story of Haridās Ṭhākur. It is the Leela of Haridās Ṭhākur. One little danger in this material world is that someplace we know when we're young, which is so like beautiful and idyllic, and then we go back and find, oh, it's different because of concrete and steel and roads, motor cars, all the things that we take advantage of. So we can't complain when a road is made, because everyone complains when the road isn't made, as in India, we know. And one of our sannyasis wanting to name the holes in the road going from Calcutta to Navadip, like they name hurricanes. They give each hurricane some kind of a name. He wanted to name the holes in the road. Hare Krishna. Yes, and by the way, you see my two hands have been here all the while, and on my computer, directly before our gathering today, then I was reading exactly this part. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed the body of Haridās Ṭhākur in the sea, and then declared, and this is exactly right in front of me. I haven't gone looking for it, but exactly this I was reading before, and now Priyanana is saying, referring to this and expanding this idea. But then Mahaprabhu declared, from this day on, this sea has become a great pilgrimage site. And then everyone drank the water that had touched the lotus feet of Haridās Ṭhākur, and then they smeared remnants of Lord Jagannath's sandalwood pulp over Haridās Ṭhākur's body. So they had prasadam coming from the Jagannath temple, and they smeared that over his body. Then after a hole was dug in the sand, the body of Haridās Ṭhākur was placed in it. Remnants from Lord Jagannath, such as his silken ropes, sandalwood pulp, food and cloth, were placed on the body. Hare Krishna. All around the body, the devotees performed congregational chanting, and Vakreshvara Pandit danced in jubilation. And Vakreshvara Pandit, a super dancer, told he could dance for 72 hours continuously without any fatigue. Hare Krishna. And then next verse, I'll read the Bengali of the next verse, because the next verse is Hari Bolo, Bole, Gora Raya Ja, Apani Shri Hastevar, Vahu. Oh, I need my specs just because it's very small italic. Apani Shri Haste Valu Dila Tara Gaya. So then with his transcendental hands, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally covered the body of Haridās Ṭhākur with sand, chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Anyway, dear devotees, this is chapter, Antya Leela chapter 11, and I'm sure you could all find it, but I'll help you. I'll be your Google search answer. That is, it's Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Leela chapter 11 is the chapter which is the disappearance of Srila Haridās Ṭhākur. And in the talks and discussions about Haridās Ṭhākur and about the devotional activities, it is like grinding sandalwood paste. This is the example. And those of you who've ground sandalwood on the stone, which takes a lot of work going round and round and round and round, then the more you grind it, the more fragrance comes out. So don't be afraid to revisit these pastimes. And Vrindavaneshwari Devidasi has a hand up late at night in Brazil. Yes, Vrindavaneshwari, we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Good night here. Good evening there. So you talk about after Jivana Didi talked with us, you mentioned about how do we understand or not understand things. But today in our temple here in Uberlândia, in our institute, we talk about this passage, this sentence I put in the chat from Sharanagati, about how the mundane knowledge is an ignorance. And then we start reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, and everybody there goes, we feel impressed with that sentence, talking that all the things that wise men's telling and explaining for us is, as a matter of fact, undiscoverable even in Vedic literatures. And so we got to what? So we never will be able to understand nothing, and we stop reading.
Keep on reading. And why? That is that Srila Guru Maharaj, he points out that the whole of the Vedas, they are signboards, they are indicators, they're showing us the way. And those who practice, those whose lives you are hearing about in the Vedas, they are like the lighthouses to show us that we are continuing in the right direction. And one of our principal practices is to go on hearing. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which we've told its glories, some part of its glories today, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj, the author, says, don't worry if you don't understand anything, just keep on hearing these topics. So we are hearing, but it's not our knowledge side that's going to see Krishna. It's not our knowledge side that's going to feel the kirtan and the interaction between Krishna and his devotees, between Mahaprabhu and his devotees. It's our heart side. So yes, and Guru Maharaj also in so many places, he's also saying, what is this? Krishna himself is saying that the Vedas come from him. And then finally, Krishna himself is saying, actually, it's all about feeling. The Veda, the knowledge, is to satisfy our suspicion, if you like, that, why I should do this, why I should do that. But then, at a certain stage, it's all about faith. It's all about changing our consciousness to actually rely on Krishna at every step. See him everywhere, chant his holy name always, to do these things. And so Guru Maharaj himself saying quite similar to you that what is this? We've been given the Veda. Krishna himself has given the Vedas, and Krishna himself advising so much about conduct and giving the science, where we live. So many things are given in the scripture, what is good and what is bad. But then finally, it's all about heart. And that's the land that we are going to, the heart land. And that is what is being distributed through Mahaprabhu, by Mahaprabhu, and through Rupa, Sanatana, Jiva Goswami, through, in the recent time, Srila Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākur, Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, and Srila Prabhupada. But please keep on reading. This is our definite sadhana. This is our definite recommended process. And that reading will help us stay on the path through the forest and not get distracted anywhere. So to know of the goal that it is actually knowledge free is wonderful. But at this time, we are in this world and we need a little knowledge to keep up our faith and keep us in the right direction. And to keep, as Guru Maharaj said, that we should go forwards with our eyes open. And so this way, the Vedas are giving us our open eyes, opening our eyes. And maybe Jivana can just make a little contribution in this regard too, because it does seem contradictory. And Guru Maharaj himself points it out. But this is our very process, to keep on reading, to keep on knowing of this, the proper path to keep ourselves in the right direction. But Jivanadi, a few words for Vrindavaneshwari Devi and us all. Microphone.
Maharaj, I think you just said it so perfectly. I just think that was so perfect what you said. We just keep going. When it's really high, we can't understand it. Doesn't matter. We're not expected to understand it. We're just there because this hearing it's doing something with our consciousness. And because our gurus have asked us to do it, we just continue on. We don't worry whether or not we're really comprehending things or not, because like you said, we're not, period. And it's completely understood. We read it many times in the scriptures that is our situation, that we're really completely unqualified, unable to understand it, but we have the mercy of our Gurudevs and of Mahaprabhu who came and gave us this instruction. So that is most auspicious and wonderful for us. And someday, that's what it was in this last chapter of that last drop of that golden volcano, where it said that to make our advancement and progress towards the infinite, our association is our guide and all important. The conclusion has been given in the scriptures that all perfection can be attained by the help of the saints. So we have good association. We have this beautiful class. We have maybe other association too. And like you say, Maharaj, we just keep going on the path. There's signposts and we're just following the direction as best as we can. I think you explained it perfectly, Maharaj.
And next time you go to the beach, Vrindavaneshwari, then instead of thinking that the sea is there for our enjoyment, the surf and the sand and all those things, we'll remember Haridās Ṭhākur, and we'll remember, as Priyanana pointed out, how Srila Gurudev said that all of the seas, the salty waters, oceans and seas, that they've all been blessed by that saintly body of Srila Haridās Ṭhākur, his bathing and that ceremony. So the devotees always see even ordinary things. They see the sea, but in a different way. So this way, step by step, we're being taught how to see the environment, and that association of the pastime of Mahaprabhu and Haridās Ṭhākur, everyone can get when they go to the ocean, which is almost all over the world, but not yet in Ubalandia. Hare Krishna. But you know, Salt Lake City in Utah, it's up in the mountains. But there in the mountains, they have all these fossils, which are fish fossils and things. So that used to be the sea. So everything changes. What is highland can become lowland. What is lowland can become highland. And yes, Murari Prabhu, happy to have you with us again. We're very happy to see you coming with us week by week. And thank you for your kind words. Thank you so much, Maharaj. And above Jivana's head, also loved the bird above Jivana's head while she was sharing earlier. And we did hear the bird too, Jivana. All right.
The crazy bird.
All right, dear devotees, so let us continue happily our evening for many of you and our morning for some of us. And Seva Rupa also joined us in the dark. Prema Sindhu in the dark only means it's night. And now you're going into your summer in South Africa and in Brazil, the Southern Hemisphere. And we are now officially into autumn and we are going into our winter. And it has the weather changed, especially early morning, quite crispy cold, or in Gurudev's English, cripsy cold. Instead of crispy, he will say cripsy. All right, so dear devotees, heart by heart, and also I just very late turned on Facebook. For some reason, I didn't have that connection before, but now I have got it on. So to all of you on Facebook, we definitely appreciate your presence and all of your little obeisances and dandavas that you've sent, or big obeisances and dandavas, not little icon, but with a big heart we know behind. So we appreciate the company of you all, the association of you all, and let us continue step by step. And yes, so today, Thursday, yes, Sunday. So we'll be in just 3 days. We'll be back online with back to basics. And in the meantime, many things happening in everybody's life. So let us try to keep all those many things devotionally centered as much as possible.
Jai Srila Bhaktiranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai Srila Bhakti Vinod Ṭhakur's appearance day ki Jai. Jai Srila Haridās Ṭhakur's disappearance day ki Jai. And by the way, as we can see here, Radha Sundari, she's showing us a glimpse of Mayapur. Oh, glimpse of
Govardhan.
Govardhan. Because you had the small, I just made it bigger on the screen. Yes, a glimpse of Govardhan through the mosquito net. Somebody's put up someone's put up a mosquito net. Okay, very good.
I'm here. There's the Gurudev.
So you are. There's Gurudev's room. This is Gurudev's veranda in Govardhan of the more recent years. And this is where the devotees will come. I don't know if the door is unlocked and you can go in. Locked.
Yes.
Locked. Okay,
locked.
Anyway, we can see, and this is the side view of his veranda. And then just around the corner there, first of all, you can see his table and chair. But then on the left outside is a sitting bed where Gurudev would sit and give darshan. And very sweet, beautiful place. And straight through that window, looking down and across, is Srila Gurudev's Pushpa Samadhi in Govardhan. And you saw diagonally to the right, you saw just now the temple. And this is the corridor, you can tell it, devotee corridor with all the brahmachari and devotees' laundry hanging on the line. Oh, we're going to go downstairs. Mind the monkeys and your iPhone. The monkeys know the iPhone is very valuable.
Yes, but the monkeys here are more merciful than in Vrindavan.
And they are, but they still have their naughty side. Oh, so no one's bringing the cows in. Before, the cows are keeping the grass low.
We had one cow, but I don't know where this cow is now. Like last time I was in Govardhan, there was one cow with calves, but this time there is no cows. I don't know. You were talking about the Pushpa Samadhi of Gurudev.
Yes, Jai Srila Gurudev's Pushpa Samadhi ki Jai. And that growing over the top is, I think it's called bougainvillea, something like that. It's spiky and it stops the monkeys, because the monkeys, like us, don't like spikes. And yes, it's open. The door is open. Jai Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sunda Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. This is his murti here. Oh, someone's put grills there too. Good. So they're taking care. Makes it a little difficult to see inside, but there we are, yes. And if he were wearing spectacles, this deity looks very much like Guru. We feel Gurudev's presence here. It looks like him and we feel his presence. And especially so that Gurudev, it was his ambition, or he said, in the future, my wish is to go to Govardhan, and there I shall compose many things. I have many things to write. Jai. Oh, well, looking very green. Govardhan is looking green.
Beautiful place.
And some work is going on. We see sand and bricks.
Yes.
Look, looking green. And this, on the left, the building, this is the first building that came, Daita Das Seva Kunj. It's in remembrance of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Ṭhākur. Sri Daita Das Seva Kunja. You see there, it's in Hindi and in English. And this is the temple, grand temple of Anugiriraj. And what's the name of the sannyasi who's there? Padmanabha Maharaj.
Padmanabha Maharaj.
All right. So don't disturb the reading. I think they're doing the morning reading, right?
He's singing.
Singing now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
This is the first building, right? It's
Yes.
York.
Yes. And Gurudev's room was the room to the left. If you turn left, then downstairs, the most left room.
This one?
No, more left.
This one.
Yes, this room. The room nearest to Gurudev's Pushpa Samadhi, and well, nearest to the temple, because original, of course, Gurudev's Pushpa Samadhi wasn't there, but nearest to Giriraj. This was his first room. And then when the guest house that you were in, when you first were filming just now, that when that was built, then more spacious and more suitable for the devotees, Gurudev moved upstairs to the front. And so that front part, more spacious and more room for the devotees to have darshan.
There's some lemons.
Lime.
Very
Yes.
tasty.
Okay.
So many.
Lembu pani. Okay. Radha Sundari,
Yes.
thank you for the surprise visit. It is a surprise visit to Govardhan. Shri Govardhan ki Jai, Jai Shri. Govardhan Parikrama ki Jai, Shri Anugiriraj ki Jai, and Jai on Vishnupad, Srila Gurudev. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, Srila Bhakti Sunda Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai on Vishnupad, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Ṭhākur ki Jai. Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. And Jai Srila Satchitananda Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākur ki Jai. Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Vaga ki Jai. Vishwarendu Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. And Parikrama of Sri Anugiriraj, as we are doing through the lens of Radha Sundari's camera, ki Jai. And to all of you assembled devotees on Facebook,
Yes.
here on Zoom, and everybody who will see this in the future, then to all of you, our Jais first of all, and our obeisances to you all. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridās Ṭhākur ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari.
Hari.
Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Wishing you successful days in service until we meet again soon. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Radha Sundari. This is so special. Yes, so
For
amazing.
the association. Thank you, Gilamoidas.
Thank you, Jivana. My Dandava pranams to all of you. See you next time. Hare Krishna.
Shiva.